What's up, everybody? The world's a better place because you are here to join us. My name is Matt Brown, and I am the host of the Productive Conversations podcast on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. And this is the Super Bowl 60 preview. Here's our productive conversation about Super Bowl 60 and make our final picks for the final game of the NFL season that will crown a champion, either the Seattle Seahawks from the NFC and the New England Patriots from the AFC. It's me and Ryan for this one. What's up, Ryan?
Not much. How's it going? Super Bowl Sunday. It's finally here. And then football takes a break for a while.
Definitely bittersweet. So it's time to wrap this up, put a bow on a very interesting 2025 season in the NFL. And just before we make our picks and just a few things on the game itself, just want to remind you to like and subscribe to the Productive Conversations podcast on all podcast platforms and YouTube. And don't forget to check out exclusive content regarding the show across all social media platforms. We're on Instagram at Productive Conversations Podcast, X at Proud Cobble Pod, TikTok at Proud Cobble Pod, and Facebook at Productive Conversations. So we got this. This was a another week in the books. We did our tweet cap on Tuesday to talk about what happened last weekend. Here's our Super Bowl preview now. And then we also have another tweet cap to talk about what happened during this past week, what was trending, what was interesting, what were people talking about. And then after Super Bowl Sunday, once the game is over at around 9:30, 10 o'clock, we'll have a reaction here to the game itself and some notes about what was interesting, whether the commercials and
Mm.
the halftime show, and then usually save that tweet cap after to talk about what was trending at the Super Bowl after, as it's
Yeah.
turned into a little tradition here. But this one's focusing on the X's and O's about the football game itself.
Mhm.
And yeah, like I said, we'll have a reaction right after the game. But Super Bowl Sunday is here this Sunday, February 8th. Kickoff is 6:30 p.m. It will be on NBC/Peacock this year. Right now, your tail of the tape. As mentioned, we have the AFC's New England Patriots hosting the NFC's Seattle Seahawks. This game's at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. So we'll have a little day action with this game.
Yeah.
At this time, your spread is minus 4.5 points. So the people in Vegas think that the Seattle Seahawks will win by at least 5 points. Pretty steep margin. And then your over under is 45.5 points. So they think both teams together will score at least 46 points together. And also, just for the odds maker, your Seattle Seahawks are actually open at a pretty steep minus 2.5, minus 230. Pretty big favorites there. Your underdogs at plus 190. So about 1,900 over one is if you outright win the game for the Patriots. If the people in Vegas think they'll be that they will outright win the game. And yeah, so as mentioned, the Seattle Seahawks are a pretty big favorite here. Stranger things have happened, but that is what we have going for this game with a Seattle Seahawks team that quietly has been the best team in football, with a second year coach, Mike McDonald, who's created this great stellar defense. The secondary, um, forgot the exact terms 1 second, but this team with veteran pass rushers
Mhm.
and interested and very well skilled but not huge name secondary on defense. And then we have Sam Darnold, who came out as a third overall pick by the Jets. He's a journeyman along the lead, goes from the Jets to the Panthers to the 49ers, starts for the Vikings, leads them to 14 victories, and that wasn't good enough, so they let him go. And then he
That
signs a
was
4 year
crazy.
contract with Seattle. And now he's representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. And with arguably the best receiver in the league, Jackson Smith, the Jigba, Kenneth Walker, a veteran running back who's really been the best player for that team over the past few weeks in
Mhm.
the playoffs. Very good offensive line. Then we have the New England Patriots, relatively new era for them. Mike Vrabel, very first season as the head coach of the Patriots, leads them to the Super Bowl. Drake May in his second year as quarterback. an interesting running back duo with Henderson and Stevenson, the young guy and the old guy.
Hmm.
Stephon Diggs, Cardi B's boyfriend's features a major weapon. People like Max Collins, who doesn't wear any shoes as your tight end.
Hmm.
Um, and then their young but stellar defense as well brings us to this very interesting matchup. Maybe, honestly, it's not the flashiest matchup. But I think there have been more exciting Super Bowls going into the game, but at the end of the day, Sunday will be dedicated to the Super Bowl. It's a holiday in this country, whether you
Hmm.
want to believe it or not. There will be 100 million people watch this,
Hmm.
and it'll be a big deal. From that includes a Bad Bunny halftime show, which we'll definitely talk about, and then there's an alternative halftime show for an interesting group of people by Turning Point with Kid Rock and two people I've never heard of. Who are the other two?
Well, Brantley Gilbert and Lee Bryce, I know they're both in it, and then I forget the lady's name.
Hmm.
But there's three country singers in Kid Rock.
Yes,
That's the
for people who sing they to not like hip hop or stuff like that, they put in a guy who is a hip hop artist, a Kid Rock.
Well, yeah, it's almost like hip hop wasn't the problem. It's almost like there was something else different between a rapper or a hip hop artist from, anyway. We'll
You
we'll
know,
get into that in this show.
yes, we'll talk about those reactions on Tuesday. Then we'll see where the commercials go. And yeah, this is who we have going for us, Ryan. The Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. By the way, the dark side defense is what they've been coined. And
Yes.
this very impressive, only allowing about 72 points per game. Definitely ranked the best defense around. So yeah, here we are, Ryan. I know I don't care if there's anybody crazy who said this is the Super Bowl I picked. You're a liar. You are a liar. But that's okay. That's what the sports for is unpredictable. And yeah, this is what
You're
we
a
got going,
liar.
Ryan. So just any
Uh,
initial thoughts before we just make our case of who we think will go?
yeah, you mentioned the dark side defense. That's obviously the name that Seattle has had all year, kind of harkens back to their Legion of Boom
Hmm.
days, right? That was another stellar Seattle defense, especially the secondary. But I will say, and I was doing some research on this, and you'd be surprised to know that the best defense in the postseason this year is actually the New England Patriots. They've had the best defense statistically in the postseason. Now, that could be because they've also had some of the easiest matchups of the postseason this year. People have been bringing up that the Patriots did seem to be get a free kind of ride into this position. Obviously, specifically with Bo Nix going down um, right before he had to play in the
Yeah.
championship game against them for the Broncos. So, but I did just that was an important fact that both these defenses in particular are very well credentialed defenses, both through the regular season and now especially in the postseason.
You know, I saw this. There were 10 firings this year in the
Hmm.
NFL. You know, the Patriots played every single one of those coaches. That was every one of those teams that fired a
Yeah,
coach.
yeah,
And the only time they've played an above 500 team that was in the playoffs was Buffalo. And they didn't even get a chance to play them. So, yes, it's fair to say that they have a quote unquote easy schedule. Even though they had to win the games despite that, but they are here
of course, yes.
regardless. But yeah, interesting things there. So, Ryan, why don't we now make this defining moment what we're here for? Who do
Mhm.
you think will win the Super Bowl between the Seahawks and the Patriots?
So, given everything I just said, I'm actually still going to go with the New England Patriots.
Hmm.
And here's why. Obviously, first and foremost, that defense. We've talked about it. It is statistically the best defense of the postseason. I think that you can't discredit that, at least not entirely. Um, I also, we're going into a game now where somehow, some way, Sam Darnold, I can't believe I'm saying this as a Jets fan. Sam Darnold, a key piece of the offense, is questionable. Now, obviously, everybody and their mother knows that he's playing in this football game. You know what I mean? He is. It's the Super Bowl. You got one left. You do what it takes to play in the game. However, we have seen over the course of years, less so this year, but over the course of the years in general, we have seen that there are two, inside Sam Darnold, there are two wolves. One of them is a phenomenal quarterback, third pick. The other one is Sam Darnold, the kid who got mono. And it depends on which Sam Darnold we get. But I think having a lagging injury going into this game, there's a far greater chance that we'll see of something closer to that second Sam Darnold than the first. And if that Sam Darnold shows up, even if it's just for a quarter, this Patriot defense is going to absolutely take advantage of that. Meanwhile, you look at Drake May, MVP contender. Um, Obviously, the Seattle's got a great defense, but New England's got a good offense, and they got a good leader on their offense. So, that's kind of a wash, in my opinion. You got, yes, they're going to play him hard, but he's going to play it hard too. So, really, the weak link is going to be which Darnold we get. Is he completely healthy? Or more importantly, is he mentally prepared because he knows he's not completely healthy? And if he's not, I think the Patriots defense I think they will take advantage of that unfortunately true fact, and they will be the deciding factor in winning that game. Upset, Patriots are going to win the game. Not by a lot, but they're going to win the game.
Right, I hear you, Ryan, and great work. I am going to take the opposite side, though. I think the Seattle Seahawks will be able to win this game. Now, I might even go and say that I would pick a plus 4.5 Patriot spread, and I'm really not only because I've done um I've done almost 25 of these Super Bowl recaps, right? And seeing
Hmm.
how almost all these games, a lot of them are very close with similar scores. Obviously,
Okay.
some are the classics, some ended in the second quarter.
Yeah.
And of all your various bets, it wouldn't be. Do I think this game will be close? Um, Here's the thing. No, I don't. I do think I'm going off this based on a judgment and seeing trends of
Mhm.
all these games that they get closer than they wind up being. So my point on that will be a more logical. Man, I think it's something like 70% of all sports books have the Seattle Seahawks covering that spread.
Mhm.
70%. So literally most of this country thinks that the Seattle Seahawks will win very comfortably against New England.
By a touchdown at least, right? I mean,
Yeah, or within that range.
two
I
field goals.
think
Yeah, I mean it's plus five. You said right, or over five.
yes, but
Yeah.
minus 4.5. So they
Okay.
think they'll
Yeah.
win by 5 points.
Yeah.
But I think I wouldn't be surprised if it was a lot closer. But we've hearing that Drake May's been playing on a hurt shoulder, and you are going up against your most challenging team
Hmm.
yet with its most threatening pass rush. With players like DeMarcus Lawrence and Leonard Williams, even though they're vets, they've been looking great this postseason. And while the Patriots have had their breaks from a Houston team that had the rain kill their strides, a
Well, I don't know
Charger
what killed their
team
stride.
with no offensive line that pressured Justin Herbert all game long, and
Hmm.
obviously the Broncos simply play with a backup quarterback, and it
Hmm.
showed for the last 3 quarters of that game. And I think this team, where I've seen players on like Rashid Shaheed tearing up these defenses with especially against the Rams defense specifically. 49ers is good, but they had a lot of injuries.
Hmm.
Jackson Smith-Njigba was unstoppable this postseason. You literally just have to have the ball near him. He will make the catch. And Kenneth Walker, who had a very quiet regular season, tearing up in the postseason, especially they were running as a committee with him and Zach Charbonnet or Zach Chardonnay. It's hard to say his name,
Yeah,
but
his French
he gets
sounding
hurt.
name.
But he gets hurt, so they've been giving him more touches, and he's been pretty hard to stop. And I think they had a better matchup against the LA Rams than this Patriot team. So having
Hmm.
said all that, would I be surprised if, as long as Drake May doesn't turn over the ball, which has been a problem for him in this
Yeah.
postseason, especially, and if he could get that ball down the field, with some very trusted weapons, yeah, I do think the offense could keep it close. It's all about Sam Darnold ultimately. If he has a bad game, this game will get a lot closer. Sam Darnold has proven in these last two playoff games that he can step up
Yeah,
in a big game. Will the nerves and emotions come out on Super Bowl Sunday? It could be. I don't know. It's happened before. Hasn't happened in the postseason for 2025. So I think so. It's a possibility, but despite all that, I think the Seattle Seahawks. This is one thing I am confident about that this game is the Seattle Seahawks' game to lose. It's all on them.
I
And if
think
the
we agree on that,
yeah, and if
by
the
the way.
Patriots wind up winning, I mean, again, watching from all these Super Bowls, you can't be surprised if you get in there.
Mhm.
I did three specific games where the spreads were by 2 touchdowns and they won. Jets, Patriots, Giants. Um, when they won one of their Super Bowls, the one Super Bowl of the Jets, Super Bowl three
Yes.
for the Jets, Super Bowl
Oh God, three.
this would be 36 for the Patriots,
Hmm.
and Super Bowl 42 for the Giants, where they were at least 14 points each, and then the Patriots and Jets were 18 points. So, yeah, you and I've noticed now with the week off, you're not really in as a much of a rhythm, especially what's going on. So that's why I think naturally it will be a closer game, but I still think Seattle will win it. At the end of the day, I won't be upset or pissed off. I don't mind being wrong on this.
Yeah, it's gonna
And that's
be.
why I
Yeah,
don't even think it's crazy to think if the Patriots win this because of just how it's
the
weird.
Super
It's not
Bowl.
even like it's not even like a regular Sunday. They say the
Yeah.
last real Sunday of the NFL season is the championship. So that's why it's possible. And yeah, I do think the Patriots got a very lucky break to get here, but they're here
Oh yeah.
regardless because they won the games.
Yeah.
So we're going to go off a chance with that, but I will do the Patriots plus 4.5. However, I think the Seahawks, as mentioned, this is the Seahawks Super Bowl to win, and the Super Bowl. This is the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl to win, and Seattle Super Bowl to lose.
Mhm.
But on paper, they should handle this Patriot team with no problem. But it's the Super Bowl. Anything can happen once you're in the game itself.
Yeah, and not to go against my own point, but you talk about nerves. This is certainly the biggest stage that Drake May has been on as only his second year in the league,
Crazy.
which to me, like as you pointed out. I mean, the entirety of like that division has had turnover problems, if we're being completely honest. But he's got a bit of a turnover bug every once in a while, and nerves are not going to help keep that at bay. Having nerves, I should say. So yeah, I mean, it could easily fall apart for the Patriots too. They could be the ones who get caught up in the moment and all that stuff. But yeah, I think you're right. It's win or lose. It's going to be on Seattle's time because they got the bigger team, they got the better team, they got the better team, frankly. But the better team doesn't always, the better team on paper doesn't always win. Sometimes the better team on the field has an X factor that you can't account for.
There you go, Roanne. There you go. All right. But regardless, whether you think this is a flashy Super Bowl or not, I guarantee once the day comes, you're only going to focus on the game. And if it's, some people said it feels like we are going into a week 7 matchup, which is pretty insulting. But like I said,
Yeah, incredibly insulting.
it's just, at least if you had like this Rams and the Patriots, you'd have the two potential MVPs to go up against each other, right? It's
Hmm.
just this. It's weird to call the Seahawks irrelevant, but they've been playing the best football, but they are irrelevant because at least the
Well,
Legion of
yeah,
Boom were like the heels of the NFL.
right. They were drawing attention. Neither one of these teams has been drawing a ton of attention.
Yeah, I
From
don't
like
even
a
think a lot
narrative
of
standpoint.
people don't even know who Mike McDonald is. Second
Yeah,
year head
yeah.
coach, and barely hear him speak before. He's a very quirky guy. I don't think he's you hear the term football guy, like I don't think he knows how to speak besides football talk.
What's interesting though is, I mean, if we think about who's made the most impact or whatever.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, in my opinion. I think this is he's
Oh,
been
I meant
oh
narratively. Sorry,
yeah,
narratively. Yeah, player wise, yeah, Sam Darnold. But narratively, it's been Stephon Diggs, and it's not for anything good. So
yeah, right.
it's like, yeah, when the Super Bowl is low key on par in terms of public knowledge with one of the players' legal issues, it's definitely a quieter Super Bowl. But that doesn't mean I think that means it's going to end up being a better Super Bowl. I think we've been
Right.
disappointed by some high profile ones recently, actually.
Hence why I think the game's a lot closer because while I've seen all these teams all season long, and the Seahawks offense has had its ups and downs this season,
Hmm.
but they've been on a upward swing. But the week off makes a difference, so that's why I wouldn't be
And
surprised.
one
Like,
less game.
yeah, for instance, if this was the Rams again, back to the Rams, this would be a completely different conversation. I would say confidently that they could kill this Patriot team,
Yeah,
but
I agree. Actually, I would agree with that. But yeah,
but it's
the
the
extra
Seattle
game.
Seahawks.
Pats won 3 games. Seahawks with the bye didn't have to play 3 games. Obviously, they're professionals, but we saw in our other talk that that happens sometimes. Sometimes that breaks no good.
Right. So there you go. That's what we have going. The Seahawks going for their third ever Super Bowl. Patriots going for their seventh. And we'll see what happens. But we'll be back with you late Sunday night, early Monday morning, reacting to the game. And I look forward to that conversation. But Ryan's picking New England. I'm picking Seattle. We both think this game will be very close.
Yes.
So we'll both take that plus 4.5 for the Patriots.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So good work, Ryan. Don't forget the tweet cap available as well to talk about what was trending, what people were talking about this week. And we'll see you all Sunday night after the big game. Let's go. Have some
Let's
fun.
do it.
All right. And everybody who wants to be closer to free, you have a great night.